All right, welcome to the show. It's my last day in the bunker for a little bit, and there is much to discuss. And this first story I'm going to talk about, there's sort of some risk to even talking about this story because the issue of Donald Trump and Russia has become so weaponized and so distorted and so partisan and toxic and tribal. It's become so disconnected from the actual facts that we know that there's a risk to even bringing this issue up again. But there is news that continues to fill out the story and our understanding of what took place before and during the Trump administration. And we learned some important things over the weekend about coordination between the Trump 2016 campaign and Russian intelligence. And since we've covered the story all along, it would be weird if I didn't tell you that there is new information. And there are some in my audience I know who refer to the story as Russiagate and refer to me as a Russiagator conspiracy hoax, whatever the terms now are on the story. But my core audience, who has been with us, at least back to 2017, knows that my position on Trump Russia was there will be no personal collusion found between Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin at a personal level. There's not going to be any smoking gun video of Trump and Putin planning anything with regard to Donald Trump's candidacy, but it looks like a duck and it sounds like a duck and it walks like a duck. Something approximating a duck is probably there. And indeed, we had more than a dozen indictments in the Mueller probe. There was communication and coordination between Trump and Russia, including through WikiLeaks as an intermediary. Paul Manafort in touch with Russians regarding polling and the campaign and on and on. It was never going to remove Donald Trump. Go back to my videos from April of 2017 where I made it clear Trump was never going to be charged or end up in prison as a result of whatever it was he did or didn't do with Vladimir Putin, because I don't want to say no one believed, but our show was not saying they will be caught having done anything, but it was likely all along a combination of Trump being sort of a useful idiot, not even realizing how his mere candidacy, his mere presidency, helps Russia's goal of destabilizing Western democracies for their gain. And some of the people around Trump were actually in touch with Russians and coordinating. So, okay, there's a new report, and this is a Treasury Department report, which now quietly in 2021, years after the entire fiasco, with Trump already gone, confirms that Donald Trump's 2016 campaign was sharing information with a Russian intelligence officer. Full stop. That's the story. During the 2016 election, Russian and Ukrainian political consultant Konstantin Kilimnik, we've mentioned this name before, was providing Russia with so-called sensitive information on polling and Trump campaign strategy. Kilimnik, quote, sought to promote the narrative that Ukraine, not Russia, had interfered in the 2016 U.S. presidential election. In 2018, Kilimnik was indicted on obstruction of justice charges for his unregistered lobbying work related to Ukraine. But this same Treasury report now spells out that Kilimnik had been coordinating with Donald Trump's campaign chairman, Paul Manafort, during the 2016 election. The Treasury report refers to Kilimnik as a Russian intelligence officer. Donald Trump's campaign manager, campaign chairman for a period of time, was coordinating with a man now described as a Russian intelligence officer. And Manafort repeatedly shared internal campaign information with Kilimnik. As Mother Jones writes, Manafort passed inside info from the Trump campaign to Kilimnik. Kilimnik gave it to Russian intelligence, which at the time was mounting a covert attack on the 2016 election to thwart Hillary Clinton and help Donald Trump. That's collusion. Now, it isn't the cartoonish scenarios that some dreamed up. Trump secretly meeting with Putin personally. But it is Trump's campaign chairman scheming with a Russian intelligence officer as Russia was publishing derogatory information about Trump's opponent, Hillary Clinton, and preferred Trump over Hillary. We don't have to get all dramatic. We don't have to get hyperbolic. They were working together. That's it. It's simple. Meanwhile, At the same time, Kilimnik was trying to use Paul Manafort and through him use Trump to advance Vladimir Putin's interests related to Ukraine. This isn't unique. Many countries try to do this. Many of them just aren't as good as Russia at doing it. And many countries don't have someone as vulnerable and naive and ignorant as Donald Trump and the people that Donald Trump put around him. And it really went both ways. So for those who will react to this with like an okay, so what type of approach, imagine for a moment that it was revealed today, for example. This hasn't happened, but imagine we learned today Joe Biden's campaign manager was in regular contact with Chinese intelligence officers throughout the 2020 election, including unreported meetings, passing internal Biden data and strategy to Chinese operatives, who, by the way, were working on a campaign to hurt Donald Trump. How do you think people would be reacting right now? Fox News would be calling for the removal and imprisonment of treasonous traitor Joe Biden, period. And then also remember that the Mueller report basically said the same things as the Treasury report that we now have. It used different language, but just before the Mueller report was released, Donald Trump's hatchet man attorney general, William Barr, put out that 4-page propaganda letter claiming to summarize what was in the Mueller report, but not actually summarizing it, coming up with a completely different, non-actually empirically based assessment of what was in the report. So that led to the nationwide bogus exoneration tour that Donald Trump went on, and the rest is sort of history. So that's the latest. It's not really a surprise to anyone who has been paying attention, and it will be ignored by those who are convinced there was never anything there. But I think that people who followed the story soberly and closely from the beginning would not be shocked, nor would we think that it would be out of line with what was going on at the time to get this report from the Treasury Department. One of our sponsors is privacy.com. They're giving you $5 when you sign up for their completely free service at privacy.com/Pakman. I've been using Privacy for a little over a year now. You've heard me talk about it before. It's a lifesaver, and here's how it works. It takes just a couple of minutes to set up. Anytime you buy something online or on the phone, instead of actually using your real credit card number, the Privacy app and the browser plugin let you give each company a randomized virtual credit card number that you create out of thin air. It'll even autofill the card number with one click. And the payment is taken out of your checking account without the merchant ever knowing your real information. So this allows you to keep your banking information secure, but also to take control of your finances. You can create up to 12 of these virtual credit cards a month. You can set spending limits. You can freeze them. You can delete them anytime you want. So when you do this, it means you're not going to be charged when you don't want to be, because you can destroy the virtual card number right after using it, which, for instance, I love using free trials because I know I won't be charged when the trial is over if I use a virtual credit card number. You're keeping your identity private by not telling companies who you are. You're keeping your bank or credit card info protected against data breaches and identity theft, and it's free. And like I said, you'll get $5 to spend when you sign up at privacy.com/Pakman.